and welcome to the Beaconstac webinar on how Eddystone can be the most powerful tool for businesses in 2017. We are joined here by our lead engineer Kshitij Deo, who will give us a demo on how to set up an Eddystone campaign using the Beaconstac dashboard. This webinar is loaded with nuggets of information that we want to share with all of you. I'm really excited and I'm sure you enjoy this webinar too. In today's webinar, we'll discuss what Eddystone is and why it is a great tool for proximity marketing. We'll then discuss the most popular use cases for Eddystone beacons. Moving on, we'll take you through some of our own client projects that have been hugely successful. In the end, we'll discuss the nuances of setting up an Eddystone campaign from scratch. This will be followed by a demo prepared by Kshitij, and in the end, as always, we'll answer questions that you have for us. So let's get started. Coming on to what Eddystone is, I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of it. Eddystone, as you'd all know, is a beacon protocol introduced by Google in July 2015, almost 2 years after Apple launched the iBeacon protocol. It is cross-platform and is capable of supporting Android, iOS, and any other platform that supports BLE beacons. These are the different type of packets that Eddystone broadcasts. Eddystone UID is basically very similar to Beacon UUID, nothing different there. Eddystone URL basically is based on the idea that an app detecting the beacon can go directly to the URL instead of having to convert it into a destination web address. This is very, very critical in case of Eddystone, as we'll discuss in the later slides. Eddystone TLM, also known as telemetry, simply tells about the beacon's health data such as battery levels and other diagnostic data. Moving on to why Eddystone is a big deal in the proximity marketing space in the coming years. First up, let's talk about proximity marketing industry itself. According to expert, proximity marketing industry will be worth $52.46 billion by 2022. That says a lot about the promise that this industry holds. Out of these, more than half, that is 55% of the industry players, support Eddystone format. You now know why we are so bullish about Eddystone. And looking at the reasons why Eddystone is a great promise for the proximity marketing space, and the first reason that anyone will tell you is that you don't need an app. It does away with the need for a beacon-enabled app that an iBeacon needed. For the past 2 years, the reason beacon technology has not really taken off the ground completely is that there's an app required. This is the problem that Eddystone solves. If you see the illustration here, in case of iOS, all you need is the Chrome Today widget, whereas on Android, it can be either Google Chrome or the physical web app. One of the workarounds for the need of an app for iBeacon was that a lot of companies use third-party apps to reach out to their customers. This is another problem that Eddystone solves. You don't really need a third-party app. You just need the Google Chrome browser. Now that we know that Eddystone is a preferred tool for proximity marketing, let's look at the most popular use cases. The first one that comes to our mind is obviously in commercial settings such as retail stores, malls, etc. Eddystone can be used to target customers inside retail stores or lure them into entering the store. It can also be used by busy restaurants for the guest queuing system. The way they use it is all waiting customers are sent a URL with their wait times, and customers are aware of how much time it will take for them to enter the restaurant. There are many such use cases where Eddystone solves very simple, common everyday problems. Let's go on to the next use case, which I think is the most discussed with respect to Eddystone, which is public utility. Users can be sent information about bus or train schedules or can be asked to fill surveys. In case of tourists, this is especially very useful since they will not need to download an app for each of these functions. Moving on to the next, in public spaces. This can be used by brands for advertising their own products, collecting feedback about their products, or running campaigns. Moving on from the most popular use cases, let's talk about the most common campaigns and the most popular campaigns in the Eddystone space. The first one was a campaign where media agency Entertainment One leveraged Google Nearby notifications to add an innovative angle to promote their new movie, BFG. As part of this initiative, which is also called the BFG Dream Jar Trade, 56 food beacon-enabled dream jars that featured in the original story were placed at many locations across London. These jars sent push notifications to all smartphones within 15 meters of the jar. The notifications were designed to prompt passers-by about the nearby dream jar so that they could visit the dream jar and get a first-hand experience of it. Notifications also included additional digital content about the campaign. This is a great campaign as the agency was able to engage with their audiences ahead of the film's launch and also made use of innovative technology to offer consumers a wealth of digital content. The next one is an example from Waze. As part of their beacons program, Waze aims to install Eddystone beacons in the tunnels that the company has in its database. This comes to around 7,500 miles around the world. The beacons in this case will be configured to transmit signals to Bluetooth-enabled smartphones on the user end, thus taking over the role played by GPS. The way it works is it will provide location data wherever a car passes through a tunnel. A total of about 42 beacons are required to provide coverage for every mile within a tunnel. This campaign has already kicked off and beacons have been turned on at two places in Pittsburgh tunnels, Fort Pitt and Liberty, and another one in Israel. We hope to see this campaign come into full bloom by end of this year, and I'm sure it will be extremely successful. Moving on, let's talk about Beaconstac's own Eddystone campaigns. We have dozens of deployments that we have done, but we are here talking about only two of them because they were different from the others. As in, we do not use Eddystone to run, to display offers or discounts. It was more about informing customers about some function or facility available at the venue. Let's talk about the first one. HasGeek, which is a popular tech event organizer in India, leveraged Beaconstac's platform at a recent data sciences event called the Fifth Elephant 2016. It was held in Bangalore, India. The main aim of this campaign was to inform visitors about the steps involved in connecting to the event's local Wi-Fi network, as well as providing additional details about the conference schedule. This is how it worked. 6 beacons were placed at the entrances of the event, and as attendees approached their entrance, they received a notification on their phone. Once they clicked on the notification, a simple 3-step procedure on how to connect to Wi-Fi was broadcasted through a card. A card is basically a web-based UI layout which is offered only by Beaconstac. If you look at the results, there were a total of 690 notifications triggered. Of these, there were 241 that were clicked on, which leads to a 35% CTR, which is unmatched on all digital channels. We thus see that using Eddystone for such purposes can be extremely helpful to make the event a success. The next example from us is of a popular tech giant that is leveraging Beaconstac to inform users about the availability of free Wi-Fi at multiple locations across India. The main aim here, again, is to inform users about the availability of free Wi-Fi and to provide information on how to log into the free network. Beacons have been installed at 32 different locations across the country, and each location has around 20 beacons. As users enter the location, they receive a notification on their phone. Once they click on the notification, a simple 3-step procedure on how to connect to Wi-Fi is broadcasted to them. The key learning we got from these deployments is that the need for users to have their Bluetooth on is not as big as an issue as it is deemed out to be. On an average, we saw a notification rate of 3,000 notifications per location per day, which would not have been possible if a majority of users had their Bluetooth off. In terms of results, the notification saw a click-through rate of 13 to 14%, again, which is unmatched on digital channels, and a notification rate of 3,000. Moving on to the next section that we already talked about, how to set up an Eddystone campaign from scratch. The first step obviously is to identify the goal of your campaign. It could be either drive mobile downloads or boost store sales, drive nearby customers inside your store by placing beacons at their entrance or your own entrance, collect customer feedback, or gather analytics. Based on your use case, you can design your campaign. Obviously, the first step in this direction would be to purchase beacons. Ideally, your beacon should have the following features. They should be Eddystone compliant. There should be a dashboard to control the campaign from your end, where you'll not need to go and code each and every beacon according to the campaign you want to run. You'd want a dashboard where you can set up rules at your end and keep changing them according to time. You would need card creatives that would look like beautiful notifications when sent to your customers, pre-built lead generation forms, customer satisfaction forms, feedback forms, and also configured URLs, which you can change at the click of a button. At this moment, we are the only ones that are providing all of these through our Eddystone Beaconstac offering. All our competitors just offer Eddystone compliant beacons. The next step obviously would be to choose a location and to set it up according to your use case. You could either choose between grid-based beacon deployment or point-based beacon deployment. In case of a grid-based beacon deployment, you set up beacons according to your assumption of how a customer will move through the store. This kind of deployment is useful in cases such as in-store navigation. Whereas in a point-based beacon deployment, you place beacons according to the products that are placed inside your store or where you want to engage customers most. The next step is to create a floor plan. There are a lot of things that you need to keep in mind when creating a floor plan. First of all, you have to keep in mind that beacon signals are affected by interference. So you need to place beacons that are away from metallic surfaces or wall material, etc. You then need to find the points of interest within your store, and in the end make sure that the beacons are mounted 3 to 5 meters above the ground so that the maximum area is covered inside the store. I would now request Kshitij to take us through a demo that we talked about of how we can set up a campaign using the Beaconstac dashboard.
When you log into your dashboard, you will be landed on the beacons page. You will see the list of all your beacons here. You can expand it to see more details about the beacon, or you can click on that beacon to see how you can create campaigns for that. And below that are some additional information about the beacon, like when it was created, what's the temperature, etc. For now, we'll stick to the campaign section. You'll see there are 4 possible types of campaigns: card type, customer satisfaction, lead generation, and custom URL. We will start with the card type. So there are 2 template cards already created, but we are going to create a new one. Click on the cards on the left hand menu and hit add a new card. It's pretty straightforward to create a card. Just add a title here and a body. You can make the body heading type. So let me tell you, this widget is a markdown widget, and there are helper buttons on top, so you should be good to go here. So I just added this heading, and now I can add some subheadings by clicking on the heading twice, thrice, as I wish. You can create bulleted list by clicking on this icon here. You can keep previewing how your card looks like as you keep writing by hitting the preview button here. You can insert an image here. All you have to do is enter the URL of the image. So I have this image open in front of me. I copy the URL and paste it here. You can enter a title for the image. And then let's preview it. You can see there's an image below that. You can also add call to action button here. Just click this link, enter the title of the button, and enter a URL which should open when you click on this button. So I have this web page store.beaconstac.com, which I'm going to copy and paste into that. And if I see the preview, you can see there's a button, buy now. You can also see that the card is responsive. Now that I like the card, I'm going to add this card. You see it appears in the list here. Now I'm going to assign this card to the beacon of our choice. I click on the beacon, scroll down to the card section, and you can see this card appears here. I choose that and hit a preview. It shows the same preview, and I save this card. Now let's see this card in action. I am on my phone. I have the Today widget open in front of me, and Chrome widget is added already. And you can see the Buy Beacons card appears here. If I click on that, it opens in the Chrome browser like this with the same image and the same button. If I click on the Buy Now button, it takes me to the store page as we had configured. Now let's go back to the beacon and try to create a different type of campaign. This time I'm going to choose a customer satisfaction type of campaign and hit the save button. Our template customer satisfaction page is created. Now let's go back to the phone and see this customer satisfaction survey in action. So if I open the notification drawer and go to the Chrome widget, I'll see this new title for the same beacon, customer satisfaction survey. Clicking on it opens this form in Chrome browser. I'm just going to fill in all the answers here. So just for your information, this is a template form which we have created. If you want to create your own form, you should maybe use one of these services, generate a URL and just paste that URL onto our dashboard. For now the questions are fixed and cannot be changed. I hit the submit button and this form with all the information gets submitted. I can go back to the dashboard now and see all the responses submitted by various customers. I click on the form responses section, click on customer satisfaction. Since I was the only one to fill up this form, I see the list here. I can download it as a CSV. Similarly, you can create a custom URL campaign. Click on custom URL and enter the URL of your choice. For now, I'm going to enter store.beaconstac.com. Next time when your customer opens their notification drawer, they should see this URL. Now let's go to the analytics section and see what all data has been recorded so far. As you can see, there are 19 notifications sent out and 20 views, top 5 beacons by performance and top 5 cards by performance. These are the notifications which has been displayed over time. You can see the distribution of various campaigns, customer satisfaction versus card versus custom URL. You can even enter your Google Analytics ID and this data will be recorded in your Google Analytics dashboard. Now let's go to places. You can see a list of all the places here, or you can add a new place. For now I'll go ahead and show you an existing one. As you can see, this place shows up on Google Maps and there's a logo attached to this place which shows up on top of your card. You can change this logo if you want. And under beacons you can see you can filter your beacons by places. I mean, that sort of becomes very convenient at times if you have hundreds of beacons in your account. So that's about it for today's demo.
Thanks a lot, Kshitij, for that demo. It was extremely helpful. I'm sure our audiences would have liked it. And if there are any questions you have related to the demo or the platform in general, feel free to mail Kshitij or me at kshitij@mobstack.com or neha@mobstack.com. Let's move ahead to the next section. I'm sure most of you have typed in your questions. For those who have not, there's still time. Feel free to type in your questions and we'll answer them in the last 5 minutes of the webinar. Moving on to the features of our Eddystone platform. Before we jump into the questions, I just want to quickly talk about the Beaconstac Eddystone platform. It's a great way to engage customers on Google Chrome and send real-time offers based on location. You can set up URLs on an easy-to-use dashboard and create a campaign in under 15 minutes. To drive traffic to a URL of your choice and to conduct customer surveys or share special offers, this is a great tool. You can also gather user analytics to analyze customer responses, survey data, and more. As Kshitij showed you in the demo, all this is pretty simple and it's already enabled in the dashboard. Apart from what I already mentioned, we have unlimited user interactions available for you. So that means you can send unlimited number of notifications to your customers. It is fully integrated with Google Analytics. You just need to add your Google Analytics ID number to our dashboard and these will be integrated. You can set up rule-based rotating URLs, which means URL will change according to the date and time based on what preloaded conditions you have set in the dashboard. We also offer custom domain and customer support on email or phone depending on the plan that you bought. So basically we offer an end-to-end beacon solution that includes hardware as well as a Beaconstac dashboard. Based on a plan, on the plan you buy, you can choose between the number of beacons and the kind of interactions you want to make with the users, either using both iBeacon and Eddystone or just Eddystone. Make sure you go to store.beaconstack.com to check everything about the platform in itself, and if you're interested in buying beacons, you can place an order there. So let's wait for a minute and then we'll move on to the questions. You can tweet to us at Beaconstac or mail kshitij@mobstack.com or mail me at neha@mobstack.com. I'm waiting for questions from you, and once we have a number of questions, we'll start answering them. Yes, so one of the questions is, can we get access to the analytics by using Eddystone URL? You get complete access to all the analytics that is associated with the URL you send in our dashboard. So you can get everything from the number of notifications sent to the number of times your notifications were clicked on, number of interactions that your beacons had at your venue. All of that is available on our dashboard. So another question is, what are the things that are mandatory for a user to receive notifications once he comes in the range of a beacon? The first thing obviously is that your Bluetooth should be switched on. You need to enable your location, and you should have either Wi-Fi or a data pack active on your mobile. If in case of iBeacon, like we already discussed, you need to have the brand specific app which should be beacon enabled on your device. In case of Eddystone beacons, you just need the Chrome browser app on your device. How do you manage the beacon's battery life? I don't think you can really manage the battery life. Beacons come with their own, our beacons, for example, have a life of a minimum of 2 to 3 years, and they last longer than that. You can keep checking if the batteries are still active using the dashboard, but I don't think there's a way to increase the life. Another question is, how do you teach your iOS clients about beacon notification? What I understand from your question is, how do you make sure that your clients receive notifications? So there are a couple of steps that you need to do on your iPhone or iPad. Basically, the phone or iPad should be on iOS 8 or higher. You go to the home screen, and under touch settings, you go from general to about, and you can find your version number. You basically add Chrome to the today view on your device. Once the user goes to Bluetooth and turns it on, he can simply install Chrome on your device to receive the notification. Another question is that how do you go about making or updating the notifications and SMS on the Beaconstac platform? So the first thing is that beacons can only be used to trigger notifications and not SMS. And like we showed you in the demo earlier, you can leverage the our dashboard on the Beaconstack platform to set notifications with all sorts of visual content, or say a video, or simple text, to share feedback forms, run surveys, and all of these. It's pretty simple. You just go to the dashboard, you set up the kind of interaction you want to have with your user. You can also set conditions as to, this kind of message should go on this time of the day, and that's sent out. Okay, the next question is, how could we set up lead generation? Let's say I want a phone number to capture specific information with just Eddystone. We don't have an app. So yeah, obviously you don't need an app in the first place. So using Eddystone, what you can do is you send a URL that leads to a web page, and that web page, on that web page you can ask for their phone numbers or name or whatever, the fields that we already discussed, and the users will fill their form, and you get access to all that data. In fact, I was recently reading a case study on McDonald's and how they increased the number of app downloads in the last quarter. And a major chunk of it was through Eddystone beacons. They just used Eddystone URLs, sent Eddystone URLs to customers in their store, and they collected all sorts of data, and they increased the number of leads in their system just by the responses they got. Does Beaconstack have push notifications? This is a question. Yes, these are push notifications, but they're silent. They just appear on your screen. There's no buzz or anything, which is the whole idea behind Google's push towards this, is that you don't try and interfere with the user's privacy. You just see a few notifications on your screen, and you can choose the ones you want to click on. The next one is, can I use Eddystone beacons to broadcast text instead of URL? So yeah, theoretically you would want to just send text, but the Eddystone URL field has to have a byte representing HTTP or HTTPS as the prefix. So if a user clicks on this just text, a browser would open and there would be no link to this, and it would display an error page. So I would suggest you use a URL link and maybe show all the data there, or try and collect whatever field information you want from your users from there. So this is the last question that we have for the time permitted. What are the other, you mentioned there are a lot of beacon deployments by Beaconstack, which are the famous other ones. We are running a campaign with the largest, one of the largest QSR restaurants, which is quick service restaurants in the world, is leveraging Eddystone beacons to promote offers to visitors at their store. Another use case is that of a large-scale telecom provider. This is not in India, which is leveraging beacons to drive in-store traffic at their client stores. At the moment, we cannot reveal the name of the clients because of an understanding between us, but once the campaigns go live, we'll reveal their names. Also, the last question here is there any limit on the number of notifications that we can send? Obviously, like I mentioned, there's no limit on the number of notifications that you can send using our platform. That's it from today. I think we're out of time now. It was great having all of you here join us for the session, and if you have any questions, please mail us and we'll get back to you. Thanks a lot.